Hey YouTube family, hope you guys are having a great day. Today I'm coming to you with a brand new tutorial on how to create your own holiday cards. Now this tutorial is inspired by a new product I just put out on Creative Market called the Holiday Card Generator. There's a link down in the show notes below if you want to check that out. Right now it's on sale specifically for the release of this video. It will probably be going up in price in about a week or so, so definitely go and check that out now. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using elements from that holiday card generator, as well as using the Creative Cloud software family to create these holiday cards. We're going to start off by just doing little sketches using sticky notes. Then we're going to go into Adobe Capture and capture a couple little graphical elements that you'll see later that we're going to use throughout one of our holiday cards. Then we're going to jump into Adobe Photoshop Sketch and we're going to sketch out some more detailed ideas of what we want some of these cards to look like, or what we want the graphics to look like in these cards. Once we're done with that, we're going to jump into Adobe Illustrator and we're going to start building out these holiday cards. Now we may jump into Adobe Illustrator Draw to do a little bit of maybe hand lettering or things like that. We may jump into Adobe Photoshop. I have no idea yet because I haven't thought all of that through, but let's get started. I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial. Let's roll. Okay, so the first thing that we always do whenever we go about creating anything is we start doing sketches. Now, what I usually will do is sometimes I will go through and I'll, take out my sketchbook, or I'll take out, some sticky notes, my favorite colors here. Love these colors. I'll take some sticky notes and I'll take one of my pens or my markers and I'll just start like sketching out a few ideas of what I might want before we actually go and start doing any like detailed sketches. So let's go ahead and do some of that. Let's go and figure out some ideas right now. Okay, so we're gonna get started here doing some quick, rough doodles to try and like figure out, what do we want to include in these holiday cards? What sort of things do we want to go after? I've got here one of my things of sticky notes. We're gonna do probably about 5 or 6 sticky notes, maybe more. I've got 3 different types of drawing pens here. I have this awesome Pilot Bravo pen. I'll try and include a link down in the show notes for this. I've got a Sharpie, everybody knows Sharpie, and then I've got here a Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen 1-5. I'll also include a link to this in the show notes to Amazon, so if you guys want to pick these up, you can. Also, one quick little thing, I also love to use Papermate Flare medium pens. These are one of my favorite pens. I probably have over 100 of them just lying around here. But let's get started. We're actually going to start off just using the Faber-Castell pen. And we're just going to start sketching out some quick ideas here. So the first thing, of course, is if you're big on Christmas, maybe like a Christmas tree. Maybe have like some snow there, little dots here. And these don't have to be finalized little doodles. These are just like to give us some ideas. Do a little star up at the top, add some garland, some ornaments. And there, we have a quick little idea here. Some sort of like little Christmas tree. So let's go through. I'm gonna go through and do a few more little doodles. So I'm just gonna do it. All right. Okay, so we have here 8 quick ideas. We have a Christmas tree, we have some ornaments, I have a hot air balloon with like a snowflake on it, snowman, reindeer, gifts, the word joy, and a snowflake. Now these are just some of the examples that I have here. You could create your own examples, but let's go ahead and take this to the next step. All right, so we just sketched out some quick little doodles on some of our post-it notes, and we're now about ready to get started to put together some more detailed sketches. But before we do, we're actually going to jump into the Adobe mobile app, Adobe Capture, and we're going to start looking at different things that we can possibly capture from previous Christmas past, so to speak. So for example, I have here a little holiday gift bag here. I actually have two of them. I have this one right here, and then I have this one right here. I think I got these at Target maybe last year, or maybe even this year? I'm not quite sure. But you can take like this, you can take old wrapping paper, you can, whenever you go to like holiday themed parties or maybe holiday themed stores, you can do the same exact thing that I'm about to show you, but we're going to take this, we're going to take this pattern of snowflakes, and we're going to repurpose this specifically for our holiday cards for background elements. They're not going to necessarily be foreground elements, main imagery, but we're going to use these as background elements. And let me show you how we're going to do that with Adobe Capture. I have here this Christmas bag. So we see here it's basically all snowflakes. And the one thing that we might want to have in our actual holiday card is snowflakes, maybe just like floating around in the background. And it might be a cool idea, instead of going through and creating a bunch of random snowflakes, we go through here and we capture some of these ones here. So I'm going to go into my phone, and I'm going to go into Adobe, and I'm going to go into Adobe Capture, and I'm going to go into Shapes. So you can kind of see here, I already practiced a little bit with these, but we're going to go in, we're going to hit the camera button at the bottom, and when we go here and we actually like put this over the bag, we see all of these shapes. You can see my hand here. Isn't that freaky? Ooh, interesting. But you can see all these shapes propagating on the phone. Now, right now, if we were to capture this, all of this dark background here is actually what we would capture. We wouldn't actually capture these snowflakes. So in the top left corner, we're going to hit this little icon here, and we're going to switch this. So now all of these are going to be individual shapes. We can go far out, we can go really in, and we get a little bit more distortion there. But if we go out, what we can do is we can go in and let's say we're going to capture, let's see, or capture right about here. All right, so we've captured this. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to erase everything we don't want to keep. So we're going to hit the eraser at the bottom, bring it up to the maximum height, and we're going to just start erasing all of the things that we don't want. We're going to keep 4 of the snowflakes, but we're going to get rid of the others. Actually, we're going to keep 5 of the snowflakes. So we're just going to erase all of these. And there we go. So we're going to crop this, which we don't need too much cropping. We can go into smooth if we want, and we can do smooth on, which smooths it out a bit. You know, that doesn't look too bad. And then we're going to hit done. And so now this has been saved, and it's actually in our Creative Cloud library. And so we can go back and we can actually see this was the original image that was taken, but we can still see the preview here, and we can go through and we can use that when we jump into Illustrator in a little while. Okay, so now that we have our new shapes saved to our Capture app. Whoops, I was actually in my recording of this. Okay, now that we have our new shape here, we're going to jump into the next step. So here we go. Okay, so we just went through, we captured a couple of elements that we're going to use later on when we actually are building out our Christmas or holiday cards. I celebrate Christmas, but you guys might celebrate Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, or any other potential holiday that I'm not thinking of. But we're going to use those elements later on in our design process. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and sketch out a few ideas, a little bit more maybe deep dive ideas in Adobe Photoshop Sketch. That way we can take those sketches and use them to build out our holiday cards. So let's jump in. Okay, so we're going to, now that we have a little bit of an idea of what we want, we're going to go ahead and jump into Adobe Photoshop Sketch, and we're going to start sketching out ideas for these cards. So let's jump into Photoshop Sketch. All right, and then we're going to jump into my personal sketch pad, which I already have a card size pulled up. This one will be portrait. We'll probably do others that are going to be landscape. But let's go ahead and get started with this first idea here, which is the Christmas tree doodle. So we're going to set that right here. And we're just going to do some very rough gestures. So we're going to start with a triangle. We're going to add like some snowy waves at the bottom. And then we're going to add an actual like tree bark part, I guess. Alright, then we're going to say that maybe we're going to make the star up here, and we'll say actually it's like the sun. So just like mark that off. Let's say maybe there's some other trees in the background here. Maybe there's mountains or more snow or something back there. We'll say some clouds. Some snowflakes of varying sizes. Add some trees back there to give some depth. Okay, so now we have this like very, very basic outline here. We're going to go in and we're going to start adding some details. So let's start with the tree. Going in and just adding some leaves here, or furs. I don't know what exactly you would call these. I don't think they would be considered leaves necessarily. All right, so we have the basic tree. We have the wood parts here. Let's add some decorations to this. So we're going to add some garland. Some ornaments. And we can change these ornaments up when we actually vectorize this. But you can see here some examples. Alright, so we got this little Christmas tree going. Maybe we actually add some presents under the tree. Yeah, I like this. So we have some presents. Let's go up to the sun here, which is our star. And I think something very simple. I really think just having like a circle shape here with the rays coming off. And these don't have to be perfect, the sketches, because of the fact that we're going to go through and we're going to build these in Illustrator later. So we've got the trees back here. I think this one I'm just going to make a triangle shape with a stem. I think we'll add some garland to that one as well. Maybe put a star, very crude star. Some ornaments. This one will be very minimal. Put a little something up top there. I like mixing up the trees a bit. like not having them all the exact same type. Adds a little variety to everything. We'll have little circles here to show like little bits of snow have fallen. Maybe even right here is where at the bottom where we put that snow, maybe that's where we'll add some words, or maybe even up top here, let's like mark off and say like this is where we'll put, you know, happy holidays. And we don't necessarily have to have any words. It could just be this little scene here. Add the little snow, add some smaller pieces of snow here, coming through the entire piece, just floating in the background. Add some little elements here. All right, and there's like a rough idea. We can go through and we can add some more detail to the clouds, but that's not necessary. But we have an idea of our first holiday card. Now I'm gonna go through here and I'm gonna start just sketching out a few other different ideas for holiday cards. And then once we get those done, we'll check them out. Okay, so I've gone through here and I've created 3 different potential options for these holiday cards. So the first one here is I have the hot air balloon. It's kind of festive. It almost looks like an ornament. I have a couple little people here. They may be very minimal people, no real details in them, and I just have a message of happy holidays at the bottom here. Now this is all can change. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to say happy holidays, but we could add some text in there, or we could just leave it blank and just have the actual graphic itself. The other option that I have here is this Season's Greetings holiday bell. And you can see here we have some little trees up here. This is very super rough because we didn't actually do a little sketch for this specific card. But we can do so much different things with this one here. And of course, the last one we have is that original Christmas tree, Happy Holidays in here. Because there's a Christmas tree, we might change it up. Instead of saying Happy Holidays, it might be Merry Christmas. So here's our 3 little ideas here that we have. The next step of this process is to then go in and take this into Adobe Illustrator. So let's move on in and get started with the next step. Okay guys, so we just finished up doing our sketches in Adobe Photoshop Sketch. We've sent them over, or about to send them over to Adobe Illustrator CC. Now, when we do that, we're going to use them as a kind of like a little bit of a, what would you call it? We're not going to use them exactly. We're not going to like necessarily build upon the sketches. But we're going to use them as an example for what we end up building. So let's jump into Adobe Illustrator and let's knock these things out of the park. Okay, so right now what I've got here is I've got 3 different card layouts set up. Just basically artboards in Adobe Illustrator CC. I upgraded to Adobe Illustrator 2019. They just came out with a new update which fixes a bunch of the bugs that a lot of people mention in a couple of my previous videos and on social media. There was a lot of experiences with crashing. I noticed a lot of times that if I had too many things in a file, that it would switch from preview mode to the GPU mode, which meant that it just showed the outlines of things. But luckily they fixed things up, so we're a lot better off now. Okay, so we're going to go through and we're going to start creating based off of those sketches that we start off on. Now, unfortunately, having a little bit of a difficulty opening up the actual sketches in Adobe Illustrator. There's a little weird thing going on between the iPad Pro and Creative Cloud. It happens sometimes, but we'll get through it. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start creating our first card, which is the Christmas tree card. Now, before we jump in here, I actually have the file for the product I think I might have mentioned at the beginning of this video, which is my holiday card generator, which there's a link down in the show notes for this if you want to check it out. It's on sale right now. But I have this big library of different elements that we're going to end up using. And in fact, I do have, if you remember from the second sketch, the bell sketch, I have some bells right down here. We're going to zoom in. I have some bells that I've already created here, and for this example I'm just going to grab this guy right here. We're going to copy it, and we're going to bring it over to the second artboard here. And one thing I'm going to do is right now I haven't prepared this file yet, so everything is still live. You can see here this is actually a pattern brush, and these trees are still in stroke form. So we're going to go here into the transform panel, and we're going to make sure that scale stroke effects is on. That way when we click this, we can drag it and it will lower the strokes accordingly. So we're just going to group these together. We're going to align it to the artboard, and we're going to increase the size to about where we want it to go. Alright, that looks good. And we're going to start with this one because we're just going to build off of this and use some of the elements from this pack in order to make this holiday card. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little bit of a bell knocker right at the bottom here. I'm going to press I for the ellipses. I'm going to press Option Shift to drag that out. Going to bring it down here. Going to grab the eyedropper tool by pressing I. Select that, and then I'm going to get a line. Use the line tool, which I use a shortcut for that, which hopefully will be popping up. I've got a new little element to show that. Alright, so we're going to increase stroke to 10, and you see we have this little line here, so we're just going to copy this. We're going to paste it in front and drag it down here, and that's going to be the same distance we want to separate the knocker from the bottom of this bell here. So already, like, we have a card that's coming together. We're going to jump back over here, and we're going to go to this library of different, like, circular shapes. Whoops. Go back over here, and we're just going to take a look at what we've got here. Now, there's some other shapes in here, like we have these stars, these, like, little light bursts here. We have menorahs in here as well, some ornaments. I think what I'm going to look for is I'm going to look for something. Let's see. I'm going to go for, let's see, what am I going to go for? I have no idea. Okay, I think I'm going to go for this almost like a sun shape. Alright, so we're going to take this, we're going to decrease it down. I'm going to go into the Pathfinder area, and I'm going to click the exclude, which now made it to where that white circle that was in there is gone. I'm going to click and drag this and center it. Decrease the size a bit, and then I'm going to change it to white. And we're going to center all of this. Going to make sure I do selection instead of the artboard. Okay, so that's looking good right there. I think I also want to use the same stroke for this to connect to the top of the card. And then, but I also want to have that same little effect right here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the body of the bell. I'm going to select the stroke here, and I'm going to paste it in front. Then I'm going to go and select that same line. I'm going to go into my stroke panel, and then I'm going to make sure I do a line stroke outside. Alright, so we have just a little problem here. Actually, it's not that bad of a problem. It works, okay. I was going to say, because I thought that this was going to mess up a little bit, but it actually worked out pretty good. Alright, so we have this bell. Now, we could just say, okay, this is done. We can say, okay, it's finished. There we go. We have a simple card design. But no, I don't like that. I want to take it a step further. And I'm going to go in here, look at these like shapes that we have. And I'm going to go for very geometric, and I'm going to add little elements, whoops, these little star shapes in the background. And notice everything that we're doing here is just in completely black and white for now. That will change, but for now we're doing black and white so we can worry about the composition and not worry about what the colors we're using are. We can focus a bit more on just like what the elements that we have here. So decrease that a bit. Okay, so we've got these in here. Now let's find something else to add in, just some other elements. Let's see. I'm gonna go for this shape. I kind of like this. I don't know why it keeps bringing me back to this board. All right, gonna paste that in, and we're gonna do something similar. We're going to go to Object, Expand, hit Enter. All right, and then we're going to deselect the circle so we can first merge all of these together. Select everything together, and we're going to do the exclude again. Eyedropper, grab the black, and there we go. So now we have this guy here. We're going to decrease this. Actually, we're going to completely flip them. We're going to take that same element and bring it over here, but we're going to get rid of the background because we like that. We wanted to use the shape again, but we didn't want to use the circle. Now we're going to go back in here and see what else we could potentially bring in. I think I'm going to grab this guy. Again, I don't know why it does that, but okay. All right, we're going to bring this down here. We're going to make it smaller than this right here because you don't want it to compete too much. But we're going to select the actual star here. And we're going to increase the stroke and decrease this. All right, I like that. Let's make sure everything, whoops, everything looks good. All right. So now we have that little element there as well. We're not going to use that again because we don't want to overbear it with these. Let's see. Let's look at what else we can add. I think we'll add a couple more of these little starbursts, just a different shape. Decrease that size a bit. And then we'll also go in and grab the ellipses tool, which is L. And we'll just add some circles. Just some little circular elements. I actually have this set in inches, so I'm going to go up to my preferences, units. I'm going to change this to pixels. That way it's easier for us to use this. There we go. We have that bit smaller, but we're going to keep it at one point in stroke. We're just going to click and drag these around. There's actually a Great Astute graphics plugin that would be perfect for this. Unfortunately, right now they aren't. They don't have their updates for the 2019 Illustrator yet, so we have to wait on those. But that would mean we could easily go and mix all of this up. But right now we basically have a holiday card right here. Now the only thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in and change up where this lands on the page. Going to bring it up, make it a little bit more centered, and there we go. I feel like this is pretty good. There might be some tweaks that we might do later on, but this overall feels pretty great. All right, so now what I'm going to do is, because we've gone through and done this, I'm going to go and I'm going to create the other cards, but it's going to be very fast forward because I don't want us to spend too much time going through and illustrating each of these, or spending too much time explaining certain things. So what you're about to see is you're going to see a time lapse of me working on one or both of the other cards, and then we'll be jumping into the next phase of this overall gigantic long tutorial. All right, Let's get some stuff done. Okay, so we built out our holiday cards. The next thing to do, we noticed that we did everything basically in grayscale. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go through, we're going to take color themes from our Creative Cloud library. We're going to take those and we're going to recolor our holiday cards with these color schemes. We're going to try out a few different options for each one and pick which one we really like for the overall card look and feel. So let's get started. Let's go ahead through and pick our colors for these holiday cards. Okay, so what we did was we created these two cards here. The next thing is going to be to set them up so we can go through and work on colorizing them and also recoloring them. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take one example of color and we're going to create both of those using that example. Then we can go through and we can recolor and try different color schemes. So the first thing we're going to do is let's go for this one right here, the bell. So we're going to go in here and we're going to create a background. Whoops. We're going to send it to the back and we're going to look into our color library here. Whoops. And let's see, what would be a good one for this? Let's go with this. So we're going to use this color scheme here. We're going to right click on it and we're going to add theme to swatches. Pull up our swatches here and you can see the theme is right here. So we're going to make this background this color. We're going to actually select this card here so we don't select it by accident, and we're going to lock it. We're going to select everywhere that has white stroke. So let me select this one here. We're going to go into select same stroke color and then we're going to click on this color here. So now it's the same as the background. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to start figuring out how we want to go about doing the color on this. So for the bell, let's try a pink color. And let's try a darker color. Let's try red. Just trying different things to see what works best. I think we're going to go for the pink. And then we're actually going to change these up. We're going to make these purple. And because we have this, we have to actually go through and create clipping masks for this. Ungroup that. Alright, select both of these. There we go. Alright, so we have that. Let's go to the knocker here. We're going to do the dark purple here as well. And this is just testing this out and seeing what we could possibly do with this. we'll make this the pink color. And the trees, I'm gonna do the darker color. Actually, let's try red for the trees. I actually like that. Clipping mask for that as well. All right, now let's get these background elements. So we're going to use the different colors. Let's choose a couple of these things to go ahead and switch to the pink. And then some of the others. Let's zoom in here. We're going to go red for this. We'll do red on this. We'll do red here. And red for that one stroke there. We'll do dark purple for some of these. Now we'll do some of the darker color. Actually, we won't do the darker color for these, but what we will do is we will go back and recolor this. Part of this is just figuring out like how we want the colors to be, because we're going to go through and we're going to recolor this to see like what options we have. The important thing is just that we get all of these set up with color. Okay, last one. I think we'll change this one to red. Okay, so now we have this here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start working on seeing like what kind of color options we can get just using this simple color theme. So we're going to press Shift O to select the artboards, and we're going to drag a copy over. We're going to select this, and we're going to go up here to Recolor Artwork. And right now we just have this one swatch here, this one theme. So we're just going to click this button here and randomly see what color options we could do. So I kind of like this one. This looks good, but let's keep going. Ooh, that one looks really good. And so you can kind of see like what different options you can do with these. Sometimes they're really good, sometimes they're really bad. All right, I like this one. Okay, now let's actually go back into our color library, and we're going to add a couple more options. Let's see, just going to scroll through here and see what we got. I'm just adding a bunch of these in here so that we have a good amount to just play around with. All right, and we'll do one more. Okay, so we're going to repeat what we did. We're going to take this, slide it over, and then we're going to select everything, and we're going to do Recolor Artwork. All right, so let's see. Let's pick something a little bit different. So this is a very muted color palette. Again, there's some pretty good ones here. Just like testing this out and seeing what options we have. I'm gonna zoom in so you can see this a little bit better. Let's try a different one. Let's go for this green. See if there's any good ones that pop up. Okay, see, that one's not too bad. The only problem with this color scheme is there's a little bit of a contrast issue. Actually, this one's the best one, so we're going to keep that. Always click no, otherwise they reorder your colors. Let's pull over another option here. Select it. All right, let's try this one. Again, like it's all it is it's preferences to see what you want. If you want to go for a really good holiday theme, you can go for, you know, more of the green and reds, or you can go for something like this. And in a way, you know what this kind of reminds me of? This actually kind of reminds me of one of those horrible Christmas sweaters. Let's try and find one more that we can add here. Something that's got a little bit of Christmas feel to it. I know I have one because I was messing with this earlier. So I know I have the color theme somewhere in here. Let me add that too because I really like that one. Don't think I can find it. Yeah, there was a really good color theme I was looking at earlier before I started this tutorial that I thought was really good, but unfortunately I just can't find it anymore. Oh well. But yeah, it's like when you go through and you do these, you can change up a lot of different things. You can try different many different color schemes. That way you're not tied down to one specific one. So you can get a little crazy with it. You can get adventurous. You can, if let's say you're doing this for your company, you can go ahead and create a bunch of different options, and then you can share those options with everyone in the company and see which ones they like. So we just created 5 different color options for this. I think out of all of these, I gravitate towards this one over here and probably this one over here. This one's a little too much green for me. I think if we change some things up, it might be better. Like we could go in here and select these and maybe change this to a red. And see, that already feels better. Let's maybe even change these two, these two a red. And just play around with it. Okay, that's looking good. We'll change a couple of these. Actually, we'll not do that one. Red. And red. Okay, see, now that feels so much better. That feels very Christmassy. But what if we decide, okay, we like this, but we kind of want a color scheme that might go more towards Hanukkah. We don't have Hanukkah images in here, but we can go for more of a blue color palette like this here. Actually, let me cancel that and zoom in for you so you can see a bit better. Blue color scheme, and just flip through here and see what we've got. Instantly, there we go. That's really great. And then we can go back to our swatches here and we can just change this one element. And we can make that darker blue. So you can see here there's a lot of different things that we can do with these. We can go through and we can recolor the artwork. We can get multiple options here for everybody to take a look at. And I'm going to jump over here so you guys can see this is actually one of the perks of this pack is I actually have already gone through and I've created a library of color options and cards already for you using all of these elements. So you have you can see some of the same color palettes that we used before, and you can see a real variety of different cards that you can make with this holiday card generator. So all this stuff, let me zoom out so you can see what all is in this entire document. All of these things from custom designs with color options. We have pattern brushes here, which you could use for more than just this project. You use them for a lot of different things. We have Christmas trees. We have different snowflakes. We have bells, ornaments, wreaths, doves. We have some elements that have already been created, including little badges here. Like this badge, it has a custom little bit of type here. So this whole thing has a lot of great stuff that you can use to jumpstart your project. You know, we went through and I just colored this one here, but we also have this card too that we can recolor in the same fashion and have another 5 different options. Alright everybody, I want to thank everybody for tuning in for this tutorial. I want to thank you for sticking with me throughout this entire process. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit of something about the mobile apps, about the actual like Illustrator software and everything like that. This is probably going to be a long tutorial, but hopefully you guys enjoyed the entire process. Now, go out there. I want you to create your own holiday cards. If you want to, you can pick up the holiday card generator that I have on Creative Market. There's a link down below. I may even link to a special landing page as well, but go check that out. If you don't, just use the information that you've learned in this video. All I care about is helping you guys, teach you guys a little bit of something to help you create awesome holiday cards to send to your friends, your family, your clients. Let me emphasize on that. Please go and send out, holiday cards, gifts to your clients, the ones who have been working with you for a long time, that you find, are real partners, because it's always great for someone to be like, oh wow, they're really thinking about me. I need to make sure that we fit them in for next year's client work, or our next year's freelance work. So it's just a little thing. I haven't done that myself. It's the first year that I'm going to be ended up doing it. In fact, I might use some of the cards that you guys have seen here in the actual tutorial. But hopefully you guys learned a bit something. You had fun doing it. And please definitely go check out all of these apps I've mentioned from Adobe. All right, everybody, that's it for this video. Please definitely remember to leave any comments down below if you have suggestions for new videos that you want to see, if you have any questions about what all the different stuff that you've seen in this video. And please remember to hit the like and subscribe button. All right, everybody, that's it for this video. Hope you guys have a great day. And remember to stay passionate, stay positive, and stay creative. See you, everybody.